Hello, good afternoon, student from first class. The agenda for today is gonna be welcome, thought, emotional content, singing a song that we are gonna listen again about Vincent Van Gogh, page 105. Time to read our word and beyond. We are gonna finish our reading pages 71, 72, and 73. The contents, today we are gonna listen the story, and a story about reporters. The pages are gonna be 58 and 59, and we are gonna develop our pages 55 and 56, and finally the question and answer. Let's start.
Hello, my student for first class. Today we are gonna continue learning about our solar system, about the universe. We are gonna continue working on the student book, and we will study a story about student reports in the student book and practice book. We are gonna take in practice the relative classes with the practice book. And I want to give you a message. It's gonna be that if you couldn't send me your homework assignment, you can send me today. But I need to send me today or during this week because we are not gonna have any other chance, and we are not gonna have more time. As you can see, the year is over in few weeks, and for that reason we have to send all the activities. Well, let's begin our class. Thank you.
The thought for today is gonna be when you are kind to others, it not only changes you, it changes the world. And I have to tell you that the way that you give, you will receive. In this case, if you are kind with others, all the people is gonna be kind with you. Well, and right now we are gonna watch the video about the emotional content. Let's pay attention. Well, we are gonna continue with our son Vincent. But before to listen and sing the song, I want to talk about him. Vincent van Gogh was a Dutch painter. generally considered to be the greatest after Rembrandt van Rijn and one of the greatest of the post-impressionists. He saw, listen this, he saw only one artwork during his life, but in the century after his death, he became perhaps the most recognized painter of all the time. On this case, it says that he never be a famous painter when he was alive, um, and he only saw one painter. After he died, he became a famous painter. Well, we are gonna listen the song, and I need to sing.
Starry, starry night. Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Starry, starry night. Flaming clouds that brightly blaze. Swirling clouds of violet haze. Reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue. Colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber gray. Weathered faces lined in pain are swooped beneath the artist's loving hand.
Well, the next class is gonna be the last, and we are gonna investigate and we are gonna talk about the words that are in yellow color. Well, we are gonna continue with our reading. Take up your reading pads and remember that today we are gonna develop the pages 71, 72, and 73. Reading pads. We are gonna continue with the reading about our War and Beyond. The reading begins on page 64, but today we are gonna continue with pages 71, 72, and 73. We are gonna listen right now the 3 pages, please. Let's pay attention.
Neighbors. Earth is not the only planet in our solar system. There are 7 other planets and some dwarf planets that orbit the Sun. Many of these planets have moons that orbit them too. Smaller objects also orbit the Sun. They are called asteroids and comets. Asteroids are pieces of rock. Thousands of asteroids are located between the planets Mars and Jupiter. This area is called the asteroid belt. Comets are fuzzy clouds made of ice, rock, and dust. They look like streaks of light in the night sky. You can sometimes spot a comet because it has a bright tail of light. The tail of a comet always points away from the Sun. Billions of stars are in the galaxy. These stars are the twinkling lights you see in the sky at night. They are actually huge balls of very hot gas like our Sun. However, they are extremely far away. Stars give off light that travels really fast. The light from the Sun takes about 8 minutes to reach Earth. Light from the nearest star takes about 4 years to reach the Earth. Because our Sun is much closer than other stars, it looks large and bright. The other stars look small and faint.
Well, this is the page 71. Look at the picture, and I have a question. What are the 2 other objects that orbit the Sun besides the planets? Asteroids and comets. As you can see here, there are some difference. the asteroids that is here and the comet that is here, and we already listened what are the differences between them. And I have another question: how long does it take for sunlight to reach the earth? How long? How many minutes? You can participate on the chat, remember. It takes 8 minutes. Well, we are going to continue with page 72.
Stories in the stars. Some stars look like they are grouped together to form patterns or pictures. These are called constellations. People in ancient times named the patterns after gods or heroes from myths and stories. Sometimes they were named after animals. Ursa Major, or the Great Bear, is a constellation. One star grouping within the Great Bear is the Big Dipper. It looks like a small pot with a long handle. Ursa Minor, or the Little Bear, has the Little Dipper. It begins at the North Star, also called Polaris. Throughout the ages, sailors have used the stars and constellations to help them find their way on the seas. You may have noticed that stars are not always in the same part of the sky. They seem to move around during the year. However, it is Earth that moves and not the stars. An astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus proposed this idea in the 16th century. Before that time, people thought that the sun and the stars moved around Earth. The next time you look up at the night sky, think about everything that is happening out in space. You will realize that the universe is a fascinating place.
Well, with this we finish our reading. I have two questions. Which astronomer proposed the idea that the earth moved and not the stars? Which is his name? Look at the picture. Here we have. It is Nicholas Copernicus. And I have another question. It says, what is another name for the constellation Ursa Major? The Great Bear. Well, with this we finish this reading. The next class we are going to continue with the reading comprehension exercises, and we are going to work in our student. Well, we are going to continue with our student book, the page that we are going to develop by pages 58 and 59. And this is going to be a story about the student reporters. It's going to be a comic story about guys that are looking for a story. And maybe they are gonna find. We are gonna discover right now. Let's take up your student book and open, and we are gonna listen and read.
Track 41, The Student Reporters, Episode 1, Part 1.
It was late in the afternoon on a cold winter day, and two friends were sitting in a messy room. They were student reporters for an online school newspaper, and they were having an editorial meeting. They looked bored and a little annoyed. "There's no news," said Isabel. "There's never any news. What can we write about if there aren't any good stories? Brooke's cat is getting a little fat." "I can take a photo of it," suggested David. "That isn't a story," said Isabel. "And anyway, where's Molly? Why isn't she here? She's late again." Molly was walking along a narrow alley. She knew she was late for the meeting, so she was taking a shortcut through the back streets. But it was a strange evening, much quieter than usual. Molly reached the main street, but it was oddly empty. Usually there were cars and buses at this hour, and people going home after work. But today was different. Then she heard a shout behind her. She turned around. Something, a dark shape, was running toward her, and it was running fast. "Maybe it's a police officer," thought Molly. or a criminal. Molly was a good journalist. She quickly took her cell phone out of her jacket and got ready to film. Then she jumped into a doorway and held up the phone. The dark shape was getting closer and closer.
Well, this is the first part of this reading, this story. What are we gonna do? You are gonna read and match. Please, one by one, we are gonna do. Davy, Molly, and Isabel. You can type the answer on the chat. Are students reporters? David and Isabel. Brooke. Brooke's cat is getting a little fat. Brooke has a fat cat. Molly. The streets in a dark shape. We are gonna continue with the next part of this very interesting story. I will close here and be ready to listen. It's track 42.
Track 42. The Student Reporters. Episode 1, Part 2.
The shape was taller than a normal human, and it was making a strange noise. It rushed past Molly and out of sight. "About time," said Isabel when Molly finally arrived. "I'm sorry, guys," said Molly, "but you have to look at this. I have an exclusive story." Isabel looked at David and sighed. Molly was always having crazy ideas. Then Molly showed them the footage on her cell phone. The picture was shaky and a little dark, but they saw a huge shape run past. "What is that?" asked David. "It doesn't look like a person." "That's what I thought," said Molly. "Then what is it?" asked Isabel. So they watched the footage again, and this time their faces turned white. "It looks like a monster. We have to write this story and put it online now," said Isabel. "You write it," said Molly, "while David and I go back. Maybe it's still there. We can get better footage." "Is it safe?" asked David. He suddenly felt very nervous. "Don't worry. We can hide," said Molly, "and we can keep in contact with Isabel on our cell phones." 15 minutes later, Molly and David were standing in the same doorway. The street was still quiet, and it was getting darker. They waited and waited, and then Molly's cell phone rang. They both jumped. It was Isabel. "Hi, guys. Can you see anything?" "Nothing," said Molly. "Well, I'm going to put the story online now. This is the biggest story ever." Then somebody shouted in the distance, and they heard footsteps running toward them. "Isabel," whispered Molly, "this is so weird. It's happening again, just like last time."
Well, this is the second part of the story. They are looking for the monster or the shape that the girl already watched. Well, the shape was wearing a strange hat. Correct the sentences. The shape was wearing a strange hat. Molly usually has very sensible ideas. Sensible? Molly was always having crazy ideas, not sensible. Davy feels confident about going back. Again, Davy feels confident about going back. Is it safe? Asked David. He suddenly felt very nervous. Isabel thinks it's a boring story. Isabel thinks it's a boring story. Look at here. Well, I am going to put the story online now. This is the biggest story ever. No, he didn't thought that it was a boring story. She thought that was a very interesting story. Well, and we are gonna move pages 55 and 56, practice book. I will close this track. 55 and 56. I want to tell you that on the exams it's gonna be about relative classes and also the use of have and don't have. Please study this content. We are gonna wait here. Well, here we are. Unscramble the sentences. The girl who the meeting Molly was late for. It's in disorder. We have to unscramble. Owl says, the first one, Molly is the girl who was late for the meeting. Molly is the girl who was late for the meeting. Number 2, I want you to participate on the chat. Try to do it. And I will say that is correct, that is right, or that is wrong. Isabel says, there is never the girl who any news. Isabel says there is never the girls who any news. One more time, please. Try to chat to type the correct sentence. Isabel is the girl who says there is never any news. Well, number 3. David take a photo who wanted to of the cat is the boy. David take a photo who wanted to of the cat is the boy. David is the boy who wanted to take a photo of the cat. One more time. David is the boy who wanted to take a photo of the cat. Number 4. Work at the room was where the report is very messy. Work at the room was where the reports very messy. The room was very messy where the reporters worked. The room was very messy where the reporters worked. And the last one was running down the alley, frightening Molly that the dark shape. Was running down the alley, frightening Molly that the dark shape. The dark shape was running, frightening Molly down the down alley. The dark shape was running down the alley that frightened Molly. The dark shape was running down the alley that frightened Molly. Well, with this, we already finished this exercise. And we are gonna continue with the following. Read and circle true or false. The story begins late in the afternoon on a hot summer's day. True or false? The characters are reported for an online newspaper. True or false? You can type on the chat number 1 T, number 1 for F. Number 3, David wanted to take picture of a fat dog. Number 4, there weren't many cars or buses on the main street. Number 3, at first Molly thought that Archie was a criminal. And number 6, Molly wasn't a very good journalist. And finally, this answer can vary. Write two predictions about what you think that our shape is. I think that is a big crocodile. Or I think that is a big monster. Well, you can write two predictions. And finally, we are going to have a practice to complete the sentences with who, where, or that. Remember, who is going to be related with people, where a place, and that a thing. The thing rushed past Molly was making a strange noise. The thing who rushes past Molly, yeah? Well, this is the class. You are going to complete this. And finally, match the people with what they says. Who says, I have an exclusive story? Isabel, Molly, or David? Well, this is the class. I know that you are gonna do it at home. Remember, the next class is gonna be the last. You can send me the homework assignment if you couldn't send me yet. And I need to check out all the homework assignments, because the year is gonna be finished on few weeks. Well, this is all. If you have a question, I will be here on the chat. Thank you so much. Bye bye and take care. See you soon.